What is up, everybody? Yesterday, my videos, I was a little lethargic, a little out of it, tired as. And man, this last week kicked my ass, but a lot more awake today. So, sorry if I came across all like. Insomnia effing sucks. Anyways, though, enough about me. You know, it's kind of funny. I didn't even realize the Grammys were on last night. And I get a call from my mom saying, "Oh, are you watching the Grammys?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm just making some YouTube videos and stuff." So I changed it on there, and it's like, now I know what my parents went through when I was jamming out to songs when they were like, "Oh my God, what is that garbage?" And no disrespect to people who like, today's music, with the exception of a few artists, which, I highlight on here all the time. I was just completely lost and dumbfounded, like, wow, this music really sucks. And that's a sign of getting older. I just did not feel anything about the Grammys. I only watched like 20 minutes of it, and I love the memes that they already come out with about, I hate when people personally go after just one person, but, how they're like, "Oh, look at Ben Affleck looking all miserable." Shit, I don't blame him. I mean, it's just constant rhetoric thrown in your face of acceptance and of your new pronouns and following these guidelines to appease the masses. And I mean, yeah, be who you are. I don't care about that. But, and I accept everybody. I mean, I didn't exactly have a cakewalk in a private school where 98% of the, population was Caucasian, and there was like maybe 4 of us minorities. And so, yeah, it was an adjustment period, but I never was, in hate over it. Even though they would joke like, "Hey, what's up, Big Beaner?" Like, that never bothered me none. But it seems like nowadays you can't even remotely joke about anything without people getting so wrapped up and so, even if it doesn't have anything to do with them or what they're I don't want to go on from that. I'll just say this: the Grammys sucked, and I have to side with Eminem over the past few years that, why even watch that show? I mean, it's bullshit. But anyways, I had a good question from a direct message, and that asked me what has changed since my days in the music industry, which started off in the year 2000, got off my internship around 2001, 2002, and how is it different today? Well, this is one thing I will say. The artists nowadays have an outlet that wasn't even remotely close to being visualized when YouTube became what it is, making, I call them micro celebrities. And even though, yes, I've done 2 feature films that haven't been released yet, they're still more famous than probably what I'll ever be unless I continue to get more auditions, which I just locked one up in March for a feature film, another one which would be my 3rd if everything goes as planned. But with all these micro celebrities, now you're having, you kind of take the record label and the funds that they're relying on to recoup from you, because the very first time you get an artist in there, back in the day, you throw in front of them this check. All right? I would always tell my artists, get a lawyer, have them go over this with you, because if you don't, you are going to be so enticed by that first check that they ripped to you for $1.5 million. But that's going to include your costs on traveling, lodging, if you're planning on making a music video, which isn't cheap. All this stuff falls on you. And 9 times out of 10, when they blow it on stupid shit like jewelry or whatever, and then they see like, "Oh fuck, I don't have the funds," the record label is like a bank. They'll be happy to give you more money, but believe me, they're going to recoup that money with interest. So, but by the time all is said and done, you're in debt to them more than anything else because you were so enticed with that check that they cut to you. A good example of this, and Katy Perry touched on it, when she came out with one of her biggest songs, I Kissed a Girl, she didn't take the route of, because she didn't have the tools that we have now when that song came out, but she was still sleeping on friends' couches. She was still, she didn't have, shit. She talked about, having multiple cars repossessed and all that. It's because it's so enticing to take that 1.5 or that 2.0 million and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do with it. Some of them are very smart. And I think, the guy that I always, feature on here, Alejandro, aka Scary Pool Party, I think he probably went about it the smart way by doing what he does. Doesn't seem like he's, struggling for cash. And I hate talking about people's money, so I don't even want to get into how much money, he may be worth or not. That's none of my fucking business. But, he's affording his tours if he's not signed right now, from which somebody told me he isn't signed anymore. So that was the advent of YouTube and being able to garnish your own large following. Nowadays, what you see record labels trying to do is up the ante by offering you a $3.5, $4.0 million deal, but they want to secure the rights to your music by signing that over. That would mean they would then own your YouTube channel. And think about it. This was an interesting topic that came up. I haven't watched any of his videos. Like, I know of him, Mr. Beast, and I know how generous, this guy is. Like, I really hope he is who he says he is, because, he has never proven otherwise to be any different. But, the food pantries that he opens up for the people, the money giveaways, he said he's completely content with what he has when he bought a bigger house with more security, because then you start getting, the freakish stalkers coming around doing what they do. But, he was offered $1 billion. Now think about that. People sometimes don't have the concept of what $1 billion is. And if I may be completely off in this, but I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan. He had one of these guys who was in the field that I had been in when I had went to college, and that's analytical chemistry, which is basically data. When you're putting together, let's say, a vaccine, a medicine, you are having to be accurate as when you're seeing, okay, this is how much, of this, of that, boom, here, we created a successful vaccine or medication. That's analytical chemistry. So it's basically data and stats. But he said, what is 1 million seconds in your life? And I think it was like 11 to 12 days, somewhere around there. He's like, okay, so what is 1 billion seconds in your life? Now, I may be completely wrong, but I believe it's like in the 30 years. He's like, people don't have that comprehension of how much off you are when you're thinking of 1 billion as opposed to 1 million. Again, I may be completely off, but let me see. Hey, Google. 1 billion seconds equals how many years of your life?
On the website thehealthyjournal.com, they say, specifically, 1 billion seconds is 31.69 years, or a little more than 11,574 days.
Wow. Yep. So then when you do 1 million... Hey, Google, what does 1 million seconds equate to in your life?
1 million seconds of arc is 277.778 degrees.
Hey, Google, how many days is 1 million seconds?
1 million second is approximately 11.574 days.
Look at that disparaging number there. 1 million is going to be 11 days. 1 billion is going to be 31.6 years. We don't comprehend that well. But trust me, these big record labels, Interscope, I mean, look at Dr. Dre became a millionaire not just because of Interscope, but because of his headphones. And we just cannot wrap our minds around that. It sounds like $1 billion. Like, no big deal. But when you hear those kind of stats, that's kind of freaky. But what I suggested to this person is, if you're on the brink of signing a record label, signing with a record label, a legitimate record label, one, hire a badass attorney who does contracts nonstop. All right? Two, do not give up anything of yours, because then they own you. If you give up your YouTube channel that made you famous, if you give up, rights to your songs that were before the record label, whenever they play, you're not collecting those royalties. They might put something in your contract at the front end to make it loaded or make it look loaded, like, oh yeah, anytime this plays, this is how X amount, how much you're gonna get. Then when you get the check, you see that it's vastly different from what you were told. Oh, well, we had to put production costs, we had to put staffing costs, we had to put catering costs and all that, which they didn't explain to you that they were going to do to you in the first place. So, to the person who sent me the direct message, if you're on that verge of making that, making those decisions, just be very, very mindful of what they're asking for. Because the only thing they should be asking for is your talent. What can you do for them? Remember, it's a business, just like the NFL, just like MLB, just like the NBA. They're gonna glitter you in all the lyrics of your songs, from crystal and women and money and all that. And then you forget that, wait, hold on, I didn't secure my future because I just sold all my rights to this record label, who's probably just gonna sit on it. And a lot of the times they might have stipulations to post on a regular basis. So think of Ed TV with Matthew McConaughey, where he's like, well, fuck it, I'll just sit around. He's like, well, no, that's not in your contract. It asks you to live a normal daily life. And you're screwed. So please, 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 any artists that listen to this and are close to signing with somebody, don't give up anything, even if that costs you the opportunity. Because trust me, if one record label is interested in you, there's other record labels that are going to be interested in you. And I know that for 100% fact, having worked in the industry as long as I did. But whatever you do, do not sign over your life, which means everything that you built to get that recognition now is a property of somebody else. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. I don't think I continued with my Mr. Beast story, but he was offered $1 billion for his channel. And he was like, well, no. He said, if we were talking 20 billion, then yeah, maybe. Because he knows, he's very smart at business. He knows that over the duration of what he continues to do is going to generate well over $20 billion. And just the aid that he helps with. I mean, granted, those are tax write-offs, which is awesome. I mean, like I said, the dude is smart. But like the giveaways and things like that, he really seems to put a smile on people's faces for his generosity. And that I respect in a man. Like I said, I don't keep tabs on what, men do with their money. That's none of my fucking business. It never has been and never will be. I don't care how much money you have, don't care about how much money I have, but he's right. His channel's worth more than $1 billion. So to not sell it off, he made the right move no matter what, because he's still going to garner each video of, God only knows, I don't know, the stats, but maybe Google might. Hey Google, how much does Mr. Beast make per video upload?
On the website thoughtleaders.io, they say, so, how much money does Mr. Beast make per video? Well, if Mr. Beast's CPM is approximately $20 and the CPM rate measures the average earnings per 1,000 views, then this YouTuber brings in over $2 million from YouTube ad content. All those ads in the beginning and middle of the video alone.
Just that alone, $2 million. Then on top of that, whatever deals he has with YouTube or various other companies, I mean, that's crazy. imagine just being, you know, a beginning YouTuber like myself. And I know, like, oh, I'm gonna upload this video and I have 20 million in my bank account. And that would be freaking insane. I'd be like, shit, you know, this is awesome. And believe me, not everybody who works in the music industry comes out wealthy beyond belief. Those are the lucky ones, really. But I just, like I told them who sent me the direct message, please, please, please do not sign over rights to anything to the record label. If they want you bad enough as an artist, they don't need all that extra shit. So do not do it. And that is my rant about how shady the music industry is, because it used to bother me. Like, they say, you know, people who work in the music industry or entertainment industry in general, you know, are cutthroats. And yes, that is very, very true. It's a dog-eat-dog world. But they lose all their ethics. I couldn't do that. I would sit there and counsel a lot of the artists that, you know, I found, and 9 times out of 10 they didn't listen. And now they're nowhere to be heard from. So, this was before YouTube, but they signed over the rights of other beats that they had gotten. When you take an approach like Jay-Z did when he was younger, slinging, you know, cassettes, you know, or CDs, you know, out of his trunk, he was protecting his copyrights of his music by not selling out and going to the very first, you know, record label that was like, oh yeah, we would like to purchase, you know, the rights to your songs. I'm like, fuck, no, that ain't gonna happen. No matter how much money you flash in my face, be strong when somebody flashes $1.5 million to $2-3 million in your face. It's gonna seem like, oh my god, this is fucking a lot. Then idiots go out there and buy gaudy jewelry. You know, one thing that I respected about Eminem was when he, you know, he talks about it all the time. You know how he's a school flunky, pill junkie, never graduated. But that dude is smart as hell in business. I remember an interview he did with Anderson Cooper, and he called his accountant and said, hey, you know, can I afford a Rolex? And even though he could, his accountant said, let's just wait on that a little bit. He's like, you know, he's like, not that I'm concerned that that's gonna break you, but, you know, let's just see where this continues to go. And as he continues to blow up, you know, then his accountant gives him the green light and he goes out and gets him some jewelry. You know, not over the top, but during that, you know, interview with Anderson Cooper, he's like, no, I'm content with my cool little plastic, you know, watch, a Seiko, whatever. It's like he knew to listen to the right people. So trust me when I say listen to the right people, listen to the people that are in your corner and not looking for a quick, you know, a quick, rich out, if that makes sense. I might be saying that backwards, but you can have some easy outs when you get that money flash in your face. So like I said, never ever sign over any copyrights of yourself, of your music, because to them on paper, when you see the contract, it's not your name. It will say the artist, then you fill it out. Everything refers to you as an artist. It's not going to refer to you by first name. So that right there kind of tells you, okay, to them, I'm just the artist. I'm not, you know, Francisco/Cisco. I'm not, you know, Eminem. I'm not a lot of these other, you know, big acts. And there was something to do with that when Prince changed his name from the artist formerly known as Prince because of the contract bullshit. And you'll hear a lot of them talk about this. But record labels are like a high interest bank. Yes, they're gonna move your career along if you play by their rules. But there are a lot of record labels up and coming that are a lot more ethical, that are not gonna ask you for a YouTube channel, that are not gonna ask you for your copyrights of your songs, where you're only getting, you know, 30% after they're getting 70%. I mean, just think about it. They do not cover the cost of productions of movies, of music videos, of your touring. They might cover, you know, travel expenses such as, you know, a luxury bus or, you know, private jets. But that's about the most that they'll do. the rest is on you to find somebody who can produce this video for you for a cheap amount. So I just wanted to let people know, fill them in on this. You guys probably already knew this. I'm just answering a direct message from somebody I got last night after I ripped out 3 videos. So yeah, if you guys ever have any questions about that, if one of you guys are on the brink of making a deal, feel free to holler at me, because my advice is free. Working in it as long as I have, I can tell you some shit that might open your eyes and help you along with your career. Just like I said, just do not get sucked in by that very first check that they present to you, because while it's intriguing, it's not all it seems to be. There's so much back end shit that you would not realize. So until my next video, peace. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. I'm almost at 400 subscribers. And I wish I could say 400, K, but hey, hard work, right? Got to get there. Got to be a little bit more interesting, maybe a little bit more outgoing. I don't want to, sell myself out and act like a complete goofball, whatever. But yeah, trying to find the secret formula here. So if this is your very first time viewing my channel, please feel free to like, subscribe, hit the bell button and all that stuff. I don't know, I don't say that often. But yeah, it goes a long way and I'd really appreciate it. So until next time, peace, and I'll be uploading another video here shortly. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good rest of your evening until I come back.